This is Valley News Live at 10.
They want us to make sure that we keep these babies, but the second we pop them out, they don't want to help. They don't want to provide any services for us.
Good evening, everyone. Tonight at City Hall, a Bands Off Our Bodies march as rallies for reproductive rights are continuing all across the country. Valley News Team's Alex Larson brings us the story.
It's not the easy way out. It's probably harder in some ways because mentally it messes with you. So don't tell us that what we experience as women is not real.
Mercedes Brown has been a staple in the Fargo movement for reproductive rights. And tonight, Brown held her own rally for the cause.
I still haven't actually experienced the sadness. Right now I'm just still filled with rage. I was outraged. I just couldn't feel anything else. I immediately went online and just started researching everything and figuring out why they're doing this and kind of just trying to find the bigger picture.
I see that it's really important that, we get the exposure and really show that, hey, somebody, even though, somebody that may have, not have a lot of exposure, but somebody can still stand up and show something that's a whole community of us feel.
Dozens of people circled up to speak about the issues they have with the overturn of Roe v. Wade.
And it's all about controlling women. This country has more rights than any of us do right now.
And to tell their own stories of miscarriage, pregnancy, abortion, and the future for women.
It's not about the kids. It's about the other doors that open by doing this.
They also touched on daycare, WIC, and government aid programs.
I just think a lot more needs to be done to better those programs. They're good programs, but they do need work still.
After she was born, I could not get food stamps because I made too much at $11.50 an hour. As a single mom with a one-bedroom apartment, that is absolutely ridiculous to think that I could not afford to take care of my kid without help.
This comes as abortion is set to become illegal in North Dakota in 2 weeks. And anti-abortion advocates say their work is not done. But Brown says if there's one thing she'd want the opposing side of the issue to consider,
they really need to think about the other aspects other than just it's another life that's living.
In Fargo, Alex Larson, Valley News Live.
The march was part of a national Bands Off Our Bodies walkout today. Well, our First Alert weather team has issued a FOD for Friday, kicking off several days of extreme heat. Chief Meteorologist Hutch Johnson joins us with more. Hutch?
But look at that moon. Holy smokes, it's a big full moon tonight. We'll get into the details on that. That First Alert weather day is coming up for Friday. Here is the details on the moon. It is a supermoon. It's the closest in the calendar year that the actual moon gets to the Earth, so its distance varies over time. So that makes it look bigger. And moonrise is at 10:01, and it's happening right now. That moon is only 221,994 miles away. Fill up the gas tank. All right, First Alert weather day. Heat wave begins Friday. Notice the heat, the pink colors here in whites. Triple-digit heat will be just to the south. We'll be in the 90s, but factor in the humidity, and that creates a heat index, or a feels-like value, that's going to be dangerously high and in triple digits starting on Friday for many of our counties, and it could last into and through most of next week. We may get a little bit of a break the way things are looking. Tonight's supermoon is called the buck moon. That's because this is a time of year those bucks are growing their antlers. Get out there and snap some photos and upload them at valleynewslive.com. And coming up here, Stacy, in just a few moments, I'll have hour-by-hour details on your forecast tomorrow. We have some thunderstorms here and there. We'll talk about those, and we'll look ahead in a few moments.
All right. Thanks so much, Hutch.
Yeah, I just tried to stay in the shade and stay on the rides and stuff.
With the extended heat wave coming, if you're outdoors this weekend, like at the fair, Sanford's Safe Kids officials are reminding you stay aware of your child's health. Heat stroke is very common in children as they heat up 3 to 5 times faster than adults.
So if your child is hot, red, or if damp or feeling a little extra dry, that can be a sign of heat-related illness, as well as if your child's dizzy, any sort of fainting too, losing consciousness, that can be a sign too.
If you notice any of these symptoms, call 911 or find a medical professional right away. New information out of Grand Forks County tonight. We're finally hearing from authorities after the missing 18-year-old from the Grand Forks Air Force Base, Haley Sullivan, was found by a farmer. The sheriff tells us she took off on foot sometime between Monday night and Tuesday morning, somehow climbing a fence to get off base, and was found 17 miles away this afternoon on a farmstead in Gilby.
Some people think we can do it all. We know we can't. And when we have people that know the area and know their way around and where to look, it is just substantial resource for us, and that's what helps us get this outcome. I mean, if it wasn't for that farmer in that field, we don't know when we would have been able to find her.
A precautionary medical exam has been completed, and Haley is now reunited with her family. West Nile virus has been found in Grand Forks County. The cities of Grand Forks and East Grand Forks urge you to take extra precautions to avoid being bitten by mosquitoes.
People that are 60 and older are more susceptible to the more severe form of the disease. That's the population that we really want this message to get to, so that they can take the precautions to avoid mosquito bites.
The mosquito type most common for transmitting in West Nile is most active dusk to dawn. The health department recommends limiting your time outdoors, as well as eliminating any standing water around your home. Also use insect repellent that contains DEET. The family of the man killed in an officer-involved shooting at a South Fargo apartment complex had the chance to ask questions today directly to the state attorney general concerning the investigation. Fargo Mayor Tim Mahoney says he invited Shane Netterville's brothers to meet with the attorney general, deputy attorney general, Fargo police chief, and city leaders to talk openly about the investigation. Mahoney said in a statement last Friday's events were a tragedy for the entire Fargo community and the region. A young man's family is grieving an immeasurable loss of a cherished family member. The mayor also says police officer Adam O'Brien and his family are coping with this traumatic event and the lasting impact it'll have on both families involved.
I started to hear what sounded like a fuse starting to go off, like right over my shoulder almost.
Last night, Maddie Anderson thought seeing a movie, The Black Phone, would be the perfect way to celebrate her birthday, which was true until 45 minutes in. Inside the movie theater in Eagan, Minnesota, someone lit a large firework and ran away.
And instantly, I was like, shooting, it's a shooting. I'm gonna die on my 27th birthday.
It's in the dark, you're thinking gunshots, you know, you're hoping for the best, but you're just praying for your life.
Several people were hurt. Police have yet to make an arrest. A 60-year-old man was hurt when the hang glider he was operating crashed on Clear Lake near Mankato this afternoon. The sheriff's office reports Jay Uglin was the sole occupant and pilot. Some fishermen got him out of the aircraft and he was airlifted to the hospital. The cause of that crash remains under investigation. New tonight, the retention ponds in West Fargo may be enticing for recreational use, but the West Fargo Fire Department says that's not what they're meant for. Valley News Team's Nishay Taylor explains why these retention ponds aren't safe to use.
You drive by them and they look like they're a pond that's a feature for like an amenity in a neighborhood.
West Fargo Fire Chief Dan Fuller says don't be fooled by the beauty of those retention ponds in your neighborhood.
They do look very nice, but really it's handling all that runoff from these streets, all the impervious surfaces here. So you've got oil and pesticides, you've got all sorts of trash and all sorts of stuff that goes down the gutter.
Chief Fuller says not only is the water quality bad, but it can be dangerous as pumps in the ponds can create a current.
So there's giant culverts with big grates in front of them, and that's in case something or someone actually gets in the pond and gets sucked up against that grate from that pump pulling.
Over the last 2 years, Chief Fuller says there hasn't been an increase in complaints or injuries involving the use of a retention pond, but they say their warning is just to avoid another incident like in 2018 where a young boy drowned after falling into a retention pond.
Make sure that they know what it is, that it's not for play.
Here's how to help if someone ever gets caught in the pond. Call 911 immediately, and if you are not a certified lifeguard, do not go in after them. Instead,
throwing a rope out to them, throwing a life preserver out to them, or trying to reach them with a long pole or something like that to pull them back into shore.
In West Fargo, Nishay Taylor, Valley News Live.
Despite concerns this summer, Chief Fuller says their biggest concern with keeping people off retention ponds is during the winter, as ice formation on the ponds can create an even greater safety risk. Also new tonight, hometown heroes were honored at the Red River Valley Fair. After a parade into town, local sheriffs, firefighters, and EMS were honored with an event and free admission to the fair.
Well, that's one thing that we're really fortunate to have in this area. All of our agencies get along great, whether it's, for law enforcement, whether it's the sheriff's department, the police department, the highway patrol. We all get along great, and we work great with our EMS and fire partners. So we're really fortunate to have those relationships here.
In other news tonight, the Amazon delivery station in West Fargo is going into overdrive as it sends out packages from Prime Day sales. We got a behind-the-scenes look at how the facility is handling the increase in demand. Company reps say during Prime Days, the West Fargo plant will deliver an estimated 14,000 to 15,000 packages. About 150 people work at this West Fargo location.
We're really excited. We've been preparing for this day for several months, getting these packages through our logistical network to make sure that we have the products in the right places at the right time. So when folks in Fargo-Moorhead click buy, they'll get those packages as soon as we possibly can get them to them.
This Amazon delivery station has 58 daily routes with about 70 independent contractors delivering packages.
I felt like because there was so many good deals that I should go on Amazon Prime and try and find something.
And there are just a few hours left to get in on the Prime Day deals, but mental health experts tell us beware to not let the deals trigger compulsive buying. They say detach from social media or unsubscribe from emails highlighting those great deals. Make a list and stick to it. Also, think about what else could be triggering the need to buy, like your mood. If you feel like your habit of shopping is becoming too much, it's recommended to seek professional help. Still ahead.